This is Fictional Problems, the podcast where we discuss all things writing, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. In this episode, we discuss plagiarism in relation to movie and TV adaptations of literary works, in particular Isaac Asimov's Foundation and Andrzej Sapkowski's The Witcher. We also talk about the importance of having respect for the source material when creating adaptations. Join us. And welcome back to Fictional Problems with myself, Gary J. Martin.
And McNevin.
Yes, we're here with ever more fictional problems that we want to address and talk about.
More and more.
And, this is all for our listener.
Yes, yes. Hello, Bob.
Shout out to Colin.
How are you today?
We're going to fill this episode with discussion of plagiarism.
Yes.
Dark art.
The dark. Well, so I guess that might be a good title or a bad title. When we get to the end, I guess you'll make up your own mind. So this is not about how to do plagiarism, which would be
No, it's definitely not how to.
It's just not a how to, and this is not a recommendation to, because that's bad. This is in part a look at the state of fiction in the world out there, and that sounds like that sounds like a big, a large, gaudy thing. But
I was like, everything is bad.
We
discuss.
Yeah, exactly. We were just talking about just a few minutes ago, off recording. We were chatting about the new Highlander remake.
Yeah,
and
how excited I am.
Yes, but one of the reasons why you were excited about it,
specifically Henry Cavill.
And why was that?
Because I believe he's an individual with integrity when it comes to his art and his and the projects that he takes on.
And
I don't know the man.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd like to. He seems pretty cool.
Yeah, projects he takes on and projects he abandoned.
Yes, in particular, The Witcher.
Yes,
we were discussing
exactly. So in this, this is something that I think we've trailered a few times before, but this particular is a good starting point, because when we're talking about a remake,
yeah,
I went recently back and watched a few episodes of the old Highlander TV show, the Watcher arc. I want to know, and that's like, it's nice, it's great. It exists inside the same universe as in the Kurgan and the original MacLeod exists in this, and it was basically they erased the idea of the gathering never happened or didn't conclude in the movie. They just continued on. They kind of erased that bit and continued on with more immortals. So there was one kind of, I guess, hiccup, but it was maintaining the same story.
Yeah,
it was maintaining the same world.
That at some point they'd feel a draw to a faraway land to compete for the prize.
Yes, but the Kurgan was existing, and the Kurgan was killed in New York. That Conor MacLeod was the one who did it. That all the elements that existed in the original, the first movie, existed in the TV show.
Yeah.
So it was respectful, despite changing out one thing, that Connor didn't win or didn't ultimately.
Yeah, how
did
they explain that?
They just
was it like, it was just a very, very powerful quickening.
Didn't reference it.
They killed him.
No,
moved on.
No, didn't reference it at all. But they referenced him killing Kurgan in New York, and that was it. So without that one final bit, they basically just like carving off the last 1% of the script, and then they continued, which is a decision. And yes, you get more story, and but it is being respectful to the source.
Mm-hmm.
With The Witcher, I was with Cavill, he arguably, and this is the story that was put out, and I'm taking it to be correct, that he left The Witcher after 3 seasons because they were not being respectful of the source material, that the output was very much not as Aaron Sapkowski. Is it Aaron Sapkowski? I'm going to get the writer, the original writers, or even the version that was put out in the TV in the video games.
Yeah.
That was the version that a lot of people got to. That people went to the books after they found after they experienced the video game. So there's a deep difference, not just in an adaptational sense, but there is a deep, significant difference between the TV show and on one side and the books, video games on the other side. How is this to do with plagiarism? I hear Bob asking. Don't worry, Bob, we'll get to it. And thanks, Bob, for tuning in. It is that, how do you count for copyright now? How do you count for plagiarism? So if plagiarism is the act of ripping someone off, or then how can you be accused of ripping off The Witcher if the characters are so fucking different? So
I see.
You have because you take any other story where you have one character, you have your protagonist, you have your antagonist, you have your love interest, you have whatever types you have there, but you have a story filled with characters. They take certain actions. They are iconic, archetypal, whatever, for those characters. You look at, say, Star Wars. You can easily see if a movie called Star Fighting has a roguish pirate.
There was a movie called Battle in the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Stars. That's it's a Roger Corman movie. It's great. Yeah, but that was actually more of a Seven Samurai, which was very nice. But the idea of having instead of having a roguish smuggler, you have a roguish pirate. Instead of having a princess, you have a duchess. Instead of having a Jedi Knight, you have a Jedi war dancer, or you have a Jade Eye war dancer. Mm-hmm. You can in that regard, you can very easily see a plagiarism happening.
Oh my God, I got a plagiarism.
Exactly. I was like, is that a plagiarism?
Well, hang on. Wasn't there strong references to Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress for Star Wars as well?
Yes, but you can reference it without ripping someone off.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the characters in the Hidden Fortress and look at the characters in Star Wars, they're not the same.
Yeah.
Indeed, if you look at the characters between, and I actually was thinking about this recently, between Farscape and Guardians of the Galaxy, they're almost identical.
Okay.
You can map them one for one across, but the one you're mapping, when you get to Rocket Raccoon and Rigel, they're not the same person. They're both puppets, essentially. They're both small, sharp-tongued characters. They have all the they have all the archetypes. And indeed, James Gunn has said that, yes, he's very, very, very aware of Farscape and he really likes it. So it's like, okay, that's a bit...
Did you just rip it off then?
Yeah. So,
while you were at it?
But the stories are significantly different. Yeah. There's sufficiently different that you're not having a plagiarism, because you have a clear sense of what the characters are in Farscape, a clear sense of what they are in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you can compare it and go, yeah, there's similarities, but there's there's difference. With the modern TV show adaptation,
okay,
you have...
So we're talking Rings of Power or the Wheel of Time?
We're talking Wheel of Time. Rings of Power is a piece of shit.
Actually, that's not an adaptation, is it? That's just...
It is... Well, actually, no. I know.
It's an adaptation of the Index?
It is. Well, actually, it can be folded in, but it is so profoundly bad that it's not even good on its own merits. Take, say, Wheel of Time. Take Foundation. There was a third. I'll remember in a second. Witcher is also a good example, as we've mentioned. Also, the new Star Treks are also a good example of this. They push the Star Treks and Rings of Power to the side for a second and just focus on these ones. I'm trying to remember the third. So Foundation is a good example because it is
based on Isaac Asimov's
Foundation series, which no. Did it need to be adapted, or did changes need to be made for an adaptation? Yes. There's not a single female character who speaks in the first 3 books, I think, or 3 or 4 books. So it's of a start. So yeah, change all the characters to female. I have no problem with that, because the gender of the character doesn't matter. It's the story of the character. The stories that matter. You could have had Hannah Solo and I wouldn't, and it's still an act of plagiarism. Or it's
Chewbacca.
And then all you have to do is do Luke and Leia and replace them. Yeah. So it's Luke the Prince and Leia the Jedi Knight. So yeah, switch them around. I know that's not what we're talking about here. Look at the characters in Foundation, the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this was spawned because I recently watched the trailer of, I think, the third season or fourth season of, I think it was third season of Foundation. And one of the comments on it was, I really love Isaac Asimov's work. And my response was, then you fucking should read the books.
Yeah.
Because this isn't
Isaac Asimov.
It is a hodgepodge of a lot of his work. And you have robots in it, which are arguably three law robots.
Yeah.
Or at least there's being inspired by. So if I went out tomorrow and tried to rip off, to plagiarize a Foundation, I could, because in the court case, I'd go, which version of because you have the characters are so, apart from being badly written, they're so diverse in character traits, not as in in social background. They take actions, the stories themselves, the plots themselves are so different than intended. There was never meant to be characters that the whole idea of psychohistory, the fundamental core of the Foundation books is that the individual doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And indeed the mule, I think, is the only real individual that has that Harry Seldon's plan was, this is the plan. You have to make, I'm selecting these crises that happen. You have to make these decisions at this point as a group, essentially, to push this way.
To make it less bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That, yes, there will be an individual making this decision, but it's a decision for a race, or a decision for a culture, a decision for a planet.
Uh-huh.
These decisions have to be made on a global scale, on a galactic scale. So having characters going, oh yeah, we can use Harry Seldon's maths to change stuff, is a magic power.
Yeah.
So it's completely different from, it's not even that, you could look at, say, the Acolyte versus the Acolyte version of the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a thread that we pull on. Okay, then that's a interpretation. Sure.
Yeah.
That's fine. It may not match up well, but you can have different interpretations of the same thing. Yeah. Inside the universe itself.
It'd be natural enough that if there was a phenomenon, or whatever it may be, a rainbow, all across the world, different cultures throughout history would see a rainbow because it's a scientific, it's a refraction of light through the raindrops. That happens everywhere there's rain, I guess. But whereas one culture might see it as something very lucky,
yes, and
where a pot of gold might be lying,
yes.
Another culture like the Norse might see it as a road to
100%. Yes.
To Asgard.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, while you were talking, I was remembering a conversation I had with a friend of mine about, we both love dogs. Mm-hmm. And I was saying, I'd love an Alsatian. And she's from Czech. And so she's grew up in Soviet era where Alsatians were the attack dogs. So no, I've never, and she's like, no. So again, so if either of us were walking down the street in Dublin and we saw an Alsatian off lead, I'd have no reaction to it. I'd go, oh, look, a dog. Well, she'd go, fuck. So absolutely. So
a dog like that ripped my grandmother apart.
That may have happened. So
apologies. That's the case.
But that's sort of the
visceral reaction.
Yeah, the cultural reaction. So, but if you're writing a story, where you have two people having not the exact opposite, as you made it a perfect example of the Clock Gold and the Bridge. They are two different interpretations of the same effect. Yeah, you can't have both of them, or you have to do a lot of work in order to have both of them. But then when you get so let's say for the moment you can't have both. That you can have another bridge going off to a different place that has the Crock of Gold in it, right? So the bridge goes to multiple locations. That's grand. Yes, okay. Let's roll through it. If someone comes along and goes, I have a bridge that goes off to a different location. Is that an act of plagiarism, or is that someone taking inspiration? And you have the same characters, same idea, same little people that are just named different ways. I suppose, leprechauns or trolls or whatever, because the troll in Norse were actually dwarves rather than the big ones we see now.
And even leprechauns are kind of an amalgamation of several different kind of spirits.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there was no such thing as leprechaun
until
in Irish mythology.
Yeah, it became a, because they're not real, they evolved. they evolved in the act of being.
Their story evolved.
Yes, but if you took a story which have elements that you have the original book that just says one thing, and you have a different version of it, whether it be another book or a supposed adaptation or a video game version or whatever, and you have them doing the not exact opposite, but sufficiently different, then someone can come along and how do you defend your copyright? In that respect, how can you say this is because
how is it sufficiently different to warrant individual consideration?
Yeah, because I think the Foundation is outside of copyright now. I think it's 50 years old. So what stop a different company making a different TV show calling Foundation and being 100%, with the suitable gender changes, being as close to the original as possible, to being respectful to the source material. Yeah. Okay. Like, say, someone going along with The Witcher.
Yeah.
And someone say The Witcher, or someone else buys the rights for The Witcher, 10 years time, they do another version of The Witcher, which is loyal to the outcome. Game of Thrones, again, loyal to the source material in a emphatic way. That is not just things have to be changed because of adaptation. It's simply that these two products, these two stories, have significant differences to them. That, if I want to say rip off Jon Snow, which Jon Snow am I ripping off?
Yeah,
indeed, you could soften this. I'm being. The reason why I suggest that as plagiarism being kind of the focal point is it is a criminal act, and it is a dramatic way of starting this
and like when does it wander the far side of the gate?
Yeah,
in terms of original creativity into I saw something once and I'm copying it.
Yes.
And hoping for the best, and that no one notices that's what I've done. Perhaps if that's what you were trying.
Well, then that's the thing, that because if I'm ripping off Jon Snow, which Jon Snow am I ripping off? Yeah, the idea of, is it the book version or is it the TV show version? And there's significant differences there's enough differences between the two for someone to say, well, which one are you defending?
There's scope there.
Yeah,
in between. Yeah.
It's like, so if I say, okay, you find me in court and go, yeah, this character or I'm not saying I ripped it off, but they're saying, oh, you ripped off Jon Snow. So then, okay, then all I have to do is list off the character traits from the other Jon Snow and go, this exists. You've just fucked it up. You by being these hack writers who want to suggest something else in someone else's work. I'm not going to mention fanfic. Wow, am I one trick pony? Perhaps I am.
Sailing close to the wind there.
Oh, very much so. But it's because all the examples that, again, like say the writer of the Wheel of Time TV show, came out, I think at the start of the third season. I think did they get third season? Was saying that
not sure, not
it was.
I'm not watching it.
Oh, it's utterly terrible. They came out and basically said it wasn't an adaptation. It was I can't remember the term they used, but it was a different version of the same thing. It was a reimagining.
Okay.
Like, as an example of the change they made, there is two characters in it that in the book they have got a profound sibling relationship. The two of them are sisters. To talk back to a different episode when we're talking about individuality versus individuals. These two were found sisters. They found this bond.
Okay.
In the book, or sorry, in the TV show, they're gay. And while both things are, I'm not saying that they can't be,
Yeah.
but as in they're gay lovers in one and they're sisters in the another.
Okay.
It is two distinct
Relationships.
equally fine relationships. You can't have both because that's incest, or at least you have you can't overlap the two without having significant jarring problems. You can have one, or you can have the other.
Yeah.
You can have significance in both. You can have wonderful stories in both, but they both don't exist. So if someone had ripped off the book version, this person has ripped off Wheel of Time. These characters are clearly sisters. So, well, no, actually, no, they don't exist as sisters. They exist as lovers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So which is it? And I say both. Then, if it's both, then how can you protect? How can you stop someone? Or then it becomes the reverse of then. Every character out there has a reflection in a version of a version out there, that's already been made.
Yeah. Okay.
If I write completely, I write honestly and without thought of criminal act, and it's a character who has twins but loses them, and one of the twins enters the government, and the other twin is trained to kill the father. That's basically Star Wars.
It's basically, yeah.
But according to every version exists as my copyright. Then, as the copyright holder of Star Wars, I go, no, you plagiarized me. So there is and in part this is a legal question, and yes, and part this is a moral question of
essentially, like, what are the copyright laws that would restrict someone from taking your writing? And, okay, fair enough. There's some content. Say Netflix comes along and wants to run Quantumancy as a show.
Right.
At what point does it become like, well, hang on, this was not my vision of it, and this is, fair enough, I signed the contract.
Yeah.
But I think if you were, it just, as you're speaking there, it reminded me of, I remember an interview with David Gemmell going back years. Now, you'll notice there's no movies out there.
Sure.
There's no shows. There's no on-screen versions of David Gemmell's works.
Sure.
As brilliant as they are, but that was a choice that he was making. He in this interview, he's talking about how the dozens and dozens, and I'm sure there were dozens and dozens of contracts that were put in front of him, especially for the likes of Legend to adapt his work into a movie or several movies or TV shows.
Sure.
But he said there was always that paragraph down the bottom of the contract that essentially allowed those who are making this TV or movie to adjust the characters as they wanted.
Yeah.
So he said every time, like every contract he read had this down the bottom that said, "Oh yeah, fair enough. It's going to be called what you called it, and we're going to credit you as the author and the creator or the visionary that came up with this concept and this world and all the elements. However,
yes,
we're going to do whatever we want to do with the characters afterwards.
Yes,
so we could write Legend 2.
Yeah,
we could write a whole Druss the Legend spin-off.
Yeah."
Once you've signed that, we can take what you've done and we can just run with it our way and do. And that's why he never signed those contracts, and that's why there are no TV shows and movies of David Gemmell's work. It's not that it wasn't good enough, not by far. It's amazing stuff. It's fantastic.
Sure,
and one of my favorite authors.
Yeah,
but that's, according to him, he said that every single time that paragraph would prevent him from signing on the dotted line.
Absolutely. Like, I guess in an adjacent way, Watchmen and Alan Moore's reaction to it. The contract that himself and Gibson signed was insufficient because they basically signed a contract saying that the Watchmen would return to their ownership once it went out of print, and it was one of the first, or perhaps the first, to go as a trade paperback.
Okay.
So it never went out of print.
Never out of print. So they never got it back.
So they never got it back. But then you had people like Damon Lindelof, who I think is a fucking hack, and J. Michael Straczynski, who I think is one of the greatest TV writers ever to exist. And both of them have worked on subsequent works for Watchmen. And it is a case of, I don't know if I'd ever go near that, because you have the writer of it going, it is my work and someone else has taken it and not doing what I want with it.
Yeah.
The version that the Watchmen TV show was utter abhorrent in my eyes. It was, and beyond the fact that it was Lindelof who, he fucking can't write his way out of a wet paper bag, a paper bag that isn't there. That am I bigoted? Bigoted. Do I have strong opinions about these fuckers? Yes. Sorry, Bob. So, but I'm trying to remember the third one, because we have Rings of Time. We have
the Wheel of Time.
What's a Wheel of Time? We have
The Witcher.
Foundation, and there's a third. Sorry. I'm trying to remember it for my other examples.
We can brush into Star Trek as well. You want to maybe?
So the Star Trek is
Star Wars spin-offs.
Is a bit. The reason why I put it in a box by the door is that it is doing different versions of it. All the characters are different versions of where they were in the same TOS, or and they are reflections, like, say, giving Spock now has Asperger's. It is a modern take on the character.
Okay.
But it's Spock. It's like what audience are you writing this for? Are you writing this for a new audience? Great, okay. But why would they come to a TV show if they like the other TV shows? Then they want the same but different. They're not, these writers are not respecting what's gone before. They want to put their own stamp on things. And things, if they want to put a new stamp on things, great, write their own fucking stuff. But maybe they're not good enough to write, or maybe it's simply that they want something to market, that they know that they know that.
Is it name recognition? It's the brand that they're selling.
Exactly. Foundation will get to air, but a new TV show about a galaxy spanning
called Institution.
Yes, wouldn't, because they want to say this is based on Isaac Asimov's work. It was a brief blush over. You didn't need to read. All you need to do is read the cliff notes. Actually, in order to get the Asimov's influence on Foundation, all you need to do is read the Wikipedia entry for his books, and that's it. And that goes, okay, what's that? That you have the characters, they aren't being played the same way. You often have characters who are, if you listen to the interviews from the actors, they weren't told to go back and look at the old stuff.
Yeah,
they weren't told. Picard is another great example. Again, written by Alex Kurtzman, who is again another hack. The first two seasons are just, they don't reflect anything what's happened in TNG.
Yeah,
I was like, why would someone?
Would you cast all that lore aside?
Yes. It's like,
well, it's rich.
Well, rich or no, it still exists.
Yeah.
And while there are certain things in it that you can go, well, there's some conflicts, some continuity issues. It's 7 seasons of 21 episodes apiece. And it is, the people like it.
Yeah.
Why would people go to a Picard season if they are the series, a Picard spin-off series, if they didn't like TOS?
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, by the way, like the idea of having an inner light. One of the fantastic episodes where Picard lives another life.
Oh yeah.
He gets the flute at the end, and so he has raised children. He has had 2 children and raised them. And one of the major plots of Picard is, I never had a family.
Uh-huh.
He has. It was profoundly impactful for the character. It is like there's.
It's like someone hasn't done the homework.
They haven't even known, but it's not even homework. This isn't homework. Like, homework is taxing. This is enjoying something that is it's these are some of the, looking back and looking at their seminal episodes of TV. Like, the 90s was source of a lot of really fucking good sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Some not so good. Space Precinct jumps to mind.
Space Precinct, Jesus, that's a deep cut as well.
That's always a deep cut.
Man.
But even that, they were they were trying to do things, I guess, a new IP.
Yeah.
They're trying to do new things, and yeah, some of them failed. But the things that are failing now are these...
Their legacy.
They're versions of, and bad versions of, and of good things, of things that, like, say, I never played the Witcher games.
Yeah.
I've read a few of the books.
No, they're good, yeah.
I can take or leave the books. So I don't have a dog in this particular hunt. But it is this significant difference between the characters. Like they're no longer protectable.
Yeah.
And
it's like everyone, all the fans that would come to the Witcher series, for example, because they were a fan of the books and the games and the lore and the history and the world and everything, and then they come to the Witcher and they're like, oh, why is this not anything to do with anything we know?
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, who did you make this for, if not for us?
Exactly, and and
it's not for us.
And that is the I guess the force behind it, that they're making it for these things for different audiences. Grand, do so. Like, there's going to be a new Star Trek Academy TV show, which is going to be new characters. I think Robert Picardo's in it, but there's going to be new characters. It's going to be basically Star Trek 90210.
Mm-hmm.
That's aimed at a young audience. Sure, fine, that's grand. But
was Star Trek: The Next Generation not aimed at a young audience?
I was
very young
when I watched it, and indeed, say Buffy was aimed at a young audience. And how many older Buffy fans can you find? Every YA out there has got a significant not elder, but as in beyond the normal demographic fan base.
Yeah. People who grew up with,
or just there was
or came to later.
There was the Twilight Mom phenomenon, where it were older women who were just loved the Twilight books, which is great.
Yeah.
No shade cast. So it's how they are putting it out there. It is. You can make something as long as it's being respectful of where you came from, of the source material. And because you are changing the source, because you are making things that are almost out of whole cloth. Like the Picard character in season 1, season 2 of the Picard series has almost no reflection of what he was in TNG when they did the third season. And Tim Batali, is it Tim? No, Tim Batali is not the name of the guy. I'm going to remember. They changed.
This podcast is a lot of us not knowing names and they stuff in general.
I never realized where Tim Batali came from, but it's I can't remember the name of the guy. Basically, they changed showrunner for the third season. Third season is fantastic because it genuinely has a respect for where it went before, and the mystery in it actually makes sense to where it came before.
You do get a lot of these kind of shows that says, just fill in the blank for Star Trek, as in it's something that was incredibly popular, and now here's our reboot, new season, or whatever, and it's like I said before, you get a feeling like someone hasn't done the research, someone hasn't done, they're not following a line of continuity through, and it's not like the story has to just be continued, rigidly and strictly to what was set up before. But like you're saying, the respect needs to be paid.
Yeah.
If you want the individuals that liked that material to come back.
Yes. And they wonder whether the audiences are so fucking small. Like I remember having I'm going to big up myself in this. I had an idea a while ago of this was after TNG, and this was around the time that they were I think Enterprise had come to an end, and apparently there was the rumor that Jake Mastroianni was offered to take over running of Enterprise, and he said put Star Trek to bed for 10 years, and then what happens 10 years later? J.J. Abrams comes back, revitalizes it. In that time, I remember having a thought about a different TV show where Voyager had finished, so Voyager's come back. They have the caretaker technology, and they can fire off into a new either a new galaxy or a new sector.
Yeah.
So you have a gateway, go across, and you now have a colonial type thing. A where from that point, in all directions, all the races run out. Set that 5 years later. you have, and you said the protagonists are the Marshal Service.
Yeah.
They've got a small, give them, whether an old ship or a fantastic new ship, doesn't, you can design it either way you want.
Yeah.
But you have your Kardashians, your Ferengi, you have all the existing ones, and then you have your new races as well, thrown in for good measure. You can have all the stuff that you have pre-existing, but you then can do it new.
Yeah.
And you can bring in all the old characters, and you can have a visit from one of the writers.
Yeah. The idea is to try and add in a positive way. I know we were talking about positivity previously, but to try and add, not take away from what was set up. Yeah, and it's easy with creative writing or kind of with decent writing that is, like you say, respectful of the original, but someone who is also like, and I think you can tell sometimes when, sometimes they say, like Henry Cavill being a fan of The Witcher, so that's that's why, and he wants to stay respectful to the source material.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that he beat for beat says the same dialogue as the character did previously or in any of the books or anything like that. It just means he's respectful. He's adding on top of the pile of excellence, rather than down the bottom, shoveling away the causing it to be unstable and causing everything to collapse.
Yes,
which it inevitably does in a lot of these situations.
Very absolutely, it's a Jenga tower. Yeah. So they're basically knocking bits away and then adding their own bits on top. Just in fact, taking the two things that you've said, the of significance, the respect for the old, and then the building of the new. You don't have to. You don't have to. As long as you're not contradicting.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, that you're looking at these shows and you're going, okay, well, it can't be. So the veteran viewer of TNG looks at Picard and goes, okay, so it can't be this. He can't be longing for a family. I know he has had a significant family life. I've watched it. I've watched it several times. I've watched it so many times. I've got a tattoo of it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Then they go, oh no, he has never had a family. Sorry, what? No.
Yeah,
that's not true.
It's like the Obi-Wan TV show. Was that maybe the other one where Obi-Wan and Leia met?
Yes.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, the entire Star Wars thing, because actually Star Wars is a good example of what you can do better.
Yeah, with Andor. Okay.
I don't think I watched it was only 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
I didn't watch the second season. The first season was so bad.
Oh, you should.
The first season was so bad.
No, second season. I thought it was all good, but
okay. Then I shall give it a look. See, but with Star Wars, there is so many opportunities to go to any other place in the galaxy.
Yeah,
there's so many worlds out there. They have just locked themselves in everything beyond the prequels, and actually all the movies were all somewhere in relation to this very small Skywalker family.
Mm-hmm.
The entire thing was like the last line is what Rey going, I'm Rey Skywalker or something. There is so much locked into this very, 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 very small thing.
Yeah.
So just go anywhere else. Bunch of lightsabers, bunch of guys with starships. That's all you need. You can have the same. You can exist so well inside that universe without relying on because you can be limited by, and you can be. It's I guess.
I think originally was it the Journal of the Wills? How Lucas his original vision?
I don't know.
Was I think 12 books.
Okay.
Of which Star Wars was the 4th.
Okay.
I think that was the idea, and it was Journal of the Wills, and it was like a much kind of wider encompassing story, but I think it was focusing on Skywalker or the Skywalker family as the center point of the Journal of the Wills.
Grand, and that's grand. But if you jump back, the acolytes should never reference anything to do with that at all.
Yeah.
But they had, and the fact they have a character, an unnamed character, and it doesn't say a word, and it's meant to be Darth Sidious. I was like, this is just that's the sort of stuff that
I'd never watched Black.
I have, because I hate myself. It's just fundamentally really fucking bad, but it doesn't stop someone from writing within the universe. It's like you can write inside the Star Trek universe, you can write inside the Witcher universe, you can write any inside these universes. Just be understood. That's because all writing it has restriction to it.
Yeah.
All writing has limitation to it.
I was just thinking though, when like we were there when The Next Generation came out.
Yeah.
Just going back to Star Trek.
Sure, yeah.
So I'd imagine like all the fans of the original series were like, they saw Worf and went, "That's not a Klingon."
Sure. No. Okay.
Yes. Like, what's going on here? What's with the ridges and this stuff on his face? Klingons are look like humans, except they have like long mustaches from the original series.
But the Klingons already had the ridges from the
movies. Sorry,
from movies. Yeah. But you can
for example.
Yes, you can make the exact same, like when Christopher Lloyd walks in with the ridges in Search for Spock.
Yeah,
you could have the same reaction, and indeed you have that reaction to the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies from people going, "Where's Tom Bombadil? Where's the scouring of the shower? Scouring of the Shire?"
Yeah,
there's all these elements that they would have refused to allow, but they are adaptational choices.
Yes.
Versus what Rings of Power did, which is completely different characters, characters with same names.
Yeah. It's like, drastically and dramatically altering the fundamental tenets of an established character to be unrecognizable.
Yes.
Except for the fact that they have the name.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I can't follow that particular character arc because it's two different people.
Yes.
But I'm told that they're the same person,
and
I can't resolve that. I can't resolve this Galadriel with that Galadriel.
Yeah.
I can't resolve who these people are versus who I know them to be from.
And indeed, this is
reading,
this comes again. It comes down to respecting the source, because there is a way to solve the Rings of Power problem. Instead of having Galadriel as the main character, have her daughter be it. Her daughter marries Elrond.
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter is the mother of Liv Tyler. So
Arwen.
Yes, I'm going to. It's CEL. Anyway, she's pretty much named after the father. So, and having the interpersonal relationship between Galadriel and Aragorn, Galadriel and Elrond, doesn't make sense in the lore. But having that relationship between her daughter, as in the will they won't they before they hug, that makes perfect, because that character has been barely written about.
Mm-hmm.
She could have gone off and
no one knows otherwise.
It is a hole which could have been filled by hack writers filling it. They're filling it with shit, but it's not in conflict with other things. They're making a bad character.
It's isolated from the established lore. Yeah.
But they wanted the name. They wanted the name recognition. They wanted to be able to go, look, it's Galadriel, rather than having this is
a new person you haven't met before.
Yeah, this is Galadriel's daughter. This is Arwen's mother. This is the character in between these two characters.
Yeah.
This person has to exist. And you can build the story right now. As shown by the rest of their writing, they are fucking hacks. They don't know how to put a story together. So there is a lost there anyway, but it could have been done. There was changes that could have been made to allow for it. But to go back to
do you think that idea even crossed their mind?
I don't think they have minds to cross.
Well, no. Okay, they're professional writers.
Well, sorry, the professional writers in that the fact that they've been paid to write stuff down.
So.
But that is not necessarily a good thing to say. They're both from the J.J. Abrams School of Writing, which is the case they can't. It is mystery box. As one thing that Abrams has demonstrated over his career is that he couldn't finish things because it is plate spinning. It is the idea
Okay.
of set the plate spinning, and what happens on every show where you have a plate spinner. What's the thing that everyone wants to see?
Yeah,
The crash.
Plate crash to the ground.
They wanted and that is part of the display. Like the crash is the culmination of that show, or of that performance. A crash.
That's the release of the tension
Yeah.
that they've experienced throughout the whole spinning of the plates.
Yes,
Yeah.
in a crash in the storytelling term is the story failing.
Yeah.
So they ultimately couldn't do it. Or so, and they may not have a career afterwards. As in the two guys behind Game of Thrones have pretty much disappeared. I think they did. No, I think they've done one or two things, but
Dan and Dave.
yeah, Benioff and Weiss.
Yeah.
They so I guess the market hopefully is doing something to reward them for what they did.
But we can only hope. We can only hope that, again, if it's following the dollars, if it's following the return on investments for these kind of projects, hopefully that integrity will once again resurface and win out, and if people are like coming back to good, well written material that is, it transcends the tick the box exercise that seems to happen right now, and it's a case of it becomes a timeless classic, and those in charge with the checkbooks can see that, look, if we do something good rather than something popular, let's err on the side of doing something good, long lasting and timeless that people will talk about and revisit time and time again, and that every generation can come back to it. And hopefully that will start, like, as in, I'm a firm believer that if something is good, people can tell. People can, and if it's very good, a lot of people will be able to see the value in it, and it will have longevity.
I'm about to disagree.
Well, maybe this is more of a naive hope, that I hope things, that people can start recognizing, the timeless quality of something, and it will last, and that the mindset will start changing from production line, let's just get shit out there, don't care if it's good, doesn't matter, we'll get our short-term investment and then we'll fucking forget about it, everyone else will forget about it, it'll be thrown into the cesspit of history, and that'll be that, and we'll move on, and we'll keep moving on and moving on. I'd like to see a mindset change where it's like, no, they want to, I suppose, like we were talking about before, they want their name to echo through the ages.
Sure, yeah.
Attached to quality products and quality productions that, they will always be positively associated with.
Yeah.
You'd like to think that they go, well, yeah, I that's what I want out of my being a producer or a director or a writer. I want my legacy to be of quality. Yeah. And integrity.
Yeah.
And I would like to see that kind of swing back, because it feels like we're very far away from that in terms of what's being produced these days.
Yes, because I think that the idea at the moment isn't to produce something good; it's to produce something reflective.
Now, produce something now.
Yes, and those shows that are being produced, like say the Star Wars shows, are being produced in the volume studio. That's just, you only have so many hours, you don't have a chance to do anything else, just get it done and get it out. But what I was going to disagree with on it is, because good is not so there's well made, and then there's well made and there's enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Well made is a mark of quality. Entertaining is a matter up to the audience. For example, I think Sopranos is incredibly Sopranos, Breaking Bad, these are incredibly well-made TV shows. The Wire, incredibly well-made. I didn't connect with them at all. And I know people go, oh my God, that's terrible. I enjoyed it. So, yes, they just didn't connect with me.
Sure.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying I didn't, as an audience member, didn't have a good connection with them.
But you could recognize how well made they were.
Yes, that's the thing. That's the kind of distinction there. So when you say things good is always received, I can't accept that. But let's accept it as a thing. I also think that good is subjective.
Yeah.
So let's move away from well made, because you saying Andor season 2 was great. I didn't like the season 1, so I didn't go into season 2. Despite the number of Irish actors involved, that you should support the Irish.
Do it. Yes. By Irish.
Exactly. So the quote I'm going to rely on is from Kevin Spacey. So
okay.
as well, the thing is, he was cancelled a while ago because he was accused of a bunch of things, and then all those accusations he was found not guilty.
Yeah.
Well, but his career's still over. So I don't know if he's actually guilty or was just found not guilty. So during the time of House of Cards, one of the first big streamed TV shows. I say this is the American version, not the English version. English version also very good.
Yeah, very good.
He did the McTaggart TV conference, which is notably in Scotland, but it's a TV conference that's done every year, and he was the keynote speaker. And in it, he basically said that you don't need everyone to watch your stuff. 5% of the audience, 10%. You make something good, and you'll find an audience.
Yeah.
You don't need everyone to understand. You don't need everyone to follow. And so, while you're saying that it'll good things will find their way, hopefully. But what I think the producers are doing today is we want 100% of the audience, or it's no good.
Yeah.
We want to get the.
If you try and please everybody, you end up sometimes pleasing no one.
I think they also. I don't think ultimately I think they are trying to tell people what is good. They want to be, because it is a case of the producer mentality. It's like in music there's a handful of producers who are very, very good, and they have an influence over the musicians they work with. In TV, it is the writer who is the showrunner, and producers are you can have a producer who's also a writer, but in my experience, or to my lights, producers are the money people, and they generally aren't creative.
Yeah.
There is a line from J. Max Krinsky's Big Book of Screenwriting, which is a very well respected, well recommended read, where he talks about a producer coming to a writer. They're doing a situation, a kind of studio in studio a show, and he goes, and the writer has written it that the burglar comes in through the window, and the producer goes to the writer and goes, so I don't think he should come into the window. And the writer goes, okay, where he should come in through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And the writer goes, okay. And the next day the writer goes back to the producer and goes, you were right about it. He should come in through the window. And the producer goes, I knew. So it's not it's about, and that's about touching the creative process.
Yeah.
Contributing to the creative process. And this is why you have people who are not great writers, who could be great producers. Like Kathleen Kennedy was, as much as people decry her these days, she was a good producer. She did what
The Money Pit was one of hers.
Yes,
but
also as in the early Indiana Jones. There is stories that as they may be apocryphal about that she was basically a tea lady essentially, but no, she wouldn't have had the career she had if she was just that. She got the job done. As a producer, she may have been very, very good. Despite the stories that have come out, you can be very, very good at your job and have bad days.
Yeah,
but she's not creative. She's clearly shown that she is not a creative person, and that's where the problem lies with a lot of the stuff that she's pushed for.
She's logistics and planning.
Yeah, and things, that's nothing wrong with that. There's like say I'm not going to go into detail, but in my my day-to-day life, there's things I know I can't do.
Yeah.
I'm very good at what I do, and I'm happy in the position.
Like Wolverine. The best I am at what I do, he says.
I'm just trying to parse someone comparing me to Wolverine.
Yeah.
Schnickety schnick. But there's things that I know I can't do.
Yeah.
So when someone says, "Oh, you're a terrible speaker in front of people," I go, "Yeah." I'm not the one going to say, "No, I can do that." Sort of. No, I'm not. I give me a structure, and I'll happily fall into it. You know, as in, I'll happily do a presentation on a certain thing. Yeah. I'll structure it, grand, but I can't do off the cuff.
Yeah, you know your strengths
exactly, and I play to them. So there's no. So it seems like an insult saying, "Oh, you're not creative." No, but you're very good at what you do. So, and I'm not saying someone should stay in their lane, but and someone should to try and break out of the lane, try and do other things. But they also should be aware of, they should have a good balance of understanding of when they can do it and when they can't do it.
Yeah, I think someone that has reached a particularly high level of success in one field, it's almost like they anticipate moving across into another field instead of down to the bottom of another field and building up again.
Yes.
Because that idea just seems abhorrent, that they would be like a freshman starting off learning how to do this completely separate thing. It's like, no, I'm at a top level. I have expectations. My ego is inflated to this size. So therefore, if I'm excellent at this thing, when I go over and do that thing over there, I should be equally awesome at it.
Yes, which
even though there's no evidence to ever suggest that if you completely change a field, that like going from, you know, the world's greatest archaeologist decides that he wants to be a surgeon is like, I'm going to be the greatest surgeon because I'm the greatest archaeologist. Yes. That's my evidence. It's like, that's complete fallacy. Like,
clearly, because one has been digging, one has been digging in the ground, the next person's digging in a body, body, a body. You know, they're the same thing.
It's like, I use tools.
Exactly.
There's bones.
I use kind of scalpel-like things, and you use trowel-like things. So sure,
but I don't think that self-realization seems to occur.
Oh well, I would
in a lot of these zones.
I would tend to say that there is a mission. There's a self-imposed mission that is being on, that is, they see an effect and they want to replicate the effect of, and perhaps it's to the thing that we also talked before, that they want to put a mark on the world. For Kennedy, the idea is that she spent so much time working with people like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg. These people will be known for years to come as these touchstone names. So, and the things, and she was so involved in that. It's like, we will both, in our work, again, we're not going to go into details, but in our working lives, we work for bigger things than ourselves.
Yeah.
We will not be remembered, but we will contribute to
literally a number.
Exactly. We will provide good service to our employers. We will be rewarded for our good deeds over the time. But ultimately, when we're handed that golden watch, and when we retire, at the end of the day, someone will be there to replace us. Several probably be there to replace us because we're awesome. We shouldn't be expecting to be remembered in such a grand way. And indeed, in a few generations, even that should fade. Like, you know, in a few generations, Spielberg and Lucas may not be remembered. And I'm just remembering that this all started with plagiarism. But in an effort to try and create something new, inside things that they didn't have a hand in creatively creating, as a producer wise, yes, or say in the case of Kennedy, but for people, a lot of people, they weren't even born when these things were first, where it was Star Trek, Star Wars, Witcher probably new, Wheel of Time, Foundation, all these things, they were created long before a lot of these people were you know, in long pans. And they want to establish, they want to be the Robert Jordan, they want to be the Isaac Asimov, they want to be known for these things. And and it's like, no, you are destroying stuff.
Find your own path.
Exactly. This is not going to say it again. Why I'm so against people writing of certain fuck it.
And we'll wrap up at this point.
Yeah, we'll just kind of put a code on this that their actions have not loosened the copyright laws, or because copyright laws in themselves need loosening, but it is about the creative process and about. And this is the kind of give me 2 minutes to kind of put the code on this, because it is not necessarily about plagiarism or about copyright. It's about how we engage in the writing process.
Yeah,
we write something new tomorrow, and we look back and go, "Oh shit! Did I just write Han Solo? I fucking did, didn't I?" And it's a case of, no, you didn't. The version, even if you're writing a version of Han Solo, as long as you're writing with genuine interest in writing a different story, then your version of Han Solo is going to be vastly different. And he's going to make decisions, or she's going to make decisions. Han Solo,
or they're going to make
different decisions than the others, than the person that now you're seeing there is. Don't be afraid of the plagiarism monkey. If your intent is pure, if your intent is true and you're looking to create something new, because if it's Han Solo in The Witcher, that's already a different story.
Yeah,
I think we used the line before that you give an idea to 10 writers and you get 12 stories. It's from the same nub. The same ignition point you get into.
Yeah, the stories are going to come around again. The character types are going to come around again.
Sure.
You know, like we were saying, Achilles in the Iliad is going to come around again.
Very much so.
That determined warrior that wants fame above all else, or you know, the lovable rogue with a heart of gold, or you know,
exactly. And these are
put these types on.
These are archetypes for a reason. Yeah. So you seeing in the actual writing, in the action of production, in the action of creating something new, because of these actions, because of these smoothing out, because you have different versions of Han Solo, different versions of Galadriel, different versions of Harry Seldon, different versions of Geralt of Rivia, because you have so many different versions of these, then yes, read them. Yes, try to enjoy them. If you know, I clearly am a hater, but you know, enjoy what you can, and even take good from the bad. Don't have a fear of your own work.
Good.
Write with integrity, write with creativity, and the good will come.
I think integrity is definitely a word to take to heart, and to try and always put in everything you do is integrity. And with that, really, those few excellent points made, we are going to again probably continue to record, but pretend that this is the end of another episode of Fictional Problems. So thanks very much, Al.
And thank you, Gary. Until next time.
Which in reality could be like in
10 minutes time.
Okay, I know. Until next time, which could be a long time away. Yeah. Until then, all the best.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Fictional Problems, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland.